The family and values, and we have our guest seated, a darling sister, Oluwatumishe Oladapo. Yeah, Oladapo Puku. Let me put it that way. You get it right, okay? So I have to Misha this morning, and then we've been trashing this word, this particular topic with her, family integration. What are the causes? How come? What is family disintegration? Be going deep about it. And if you don't know much about it, I think it's time for you to start sitting down and having your cup of coffee, even as you walk, to listen. Yeah, you may not be watching, but at least be listening. It goes a long way. Tumisha is a writer, she's an author, she's a media practitioner, a journalist, yes. And she is a mental health advocate. So even if she's trying to say she's still part of us. He said it is inborn. I don't know how to do that in Yoruba. I don't know how to say it in Yoruba, but if I doesn't know it, I'm not going to.
It is from.
I heard us say that it is from small. She started from.
It is from the acorn. It is from the acorn that the Iroko tree buds.
Okay, there is a name for Iroko tree, but I don't know that for now. Okay, so we have Tumisha in the house, and it's always an honor to have this darling, beautiful sister with us. And so, Tumisha, it's good to see you.
It's a pleasure, and I'm so sorry I came in late.
We didn't notice. We didn't even notice.
But you know how I am, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so going to the business of the day, what does family disintegration means, and what are the causes of this family breakdown?
So I don't know how we're going to
just
go around this.
Just go around it because I have loaded of questions for you.
I'm going to just have to wait for your questions. So basically, what family disintegration means in lay terms is family breakdown. Right, and just the opposite of integration, where love, the environment is beautiful for a child to grow, two parents or the two people or the extended family are making sure the environment is okay for themselves, mentally, socially, financially, and family disintegration. People think it happens, no, but it happens gradually when issues are not spoken to and not spoken about and all of that. So it begins to, like the word says, disintegrate, break down until there's nothing to hold on because you have broken people walking around the world.
What are the causes of
A lot of
this?
things. A lot of things, but I think I think and I know that one of them will be emotional disconnection. Um, uh, Especially fathers and mothers before somebody has my head, they've had children, and that's why you're hearing such statements these days when children will say, "I didn't ask to be born." Um, I'm not my parents' what's it called, pension. Um, for someone, I asked someone once. I said, "Okay, you're not your parents' pension, and yes, you asked to be born, but they gave birth to you when, at least, when you were sick, when you were young, and all that. They were there for you. They took care of you. Did they miss it along the way? Yes, but the question is, did they also have tools so to raise you better, you know? And the person was quiet for a bit. So that's where it started from. So from this conversation I just told you about, that there was some disintegration in emotional ability. There was some disintegration in the way they showed up for this child, and some children will actually do have everything, and then because they have everything, they were not taught how to be resilient. So when they grow up and then they sit different, like there's some parents, like if their children have, say, "Oh, daddy, mommy, I have a headache," they'll put ibuprofen, Tylenol, naproxen, full of them, without giving them the grace to have the right or know what it is to have to choose. So when you're taking that right to think from a child, because you are the parent, it begins, there's some emotion because the child now goes out and finds out that this is not how the world is. I'll give you an example. Last year on the podcast, I had a Gen Z. I was doing something on generational shaming, and I had a Gen Z. He was about 21, 22 at the time, and he said it was that he doesn't think that his father did everything for him, but he doesn't think that it was right. That the day he got to know the price of a cup of rice, he was shocked. Yeah. So he said he was not given good tools on how to. So everybody shouts, Gen Z is just that. But did we give them the tools to to be in the society? So we have because we, especially Gen X's and early millennials or late Gen X's and because we have parents who were overbearing or we had such dysfunction growing up. So what we did, we had three options: overcompensate, find a balance between, or neglect the way you were neglected. So yeah, that's the huge question. What causes that? Of course, we're talking polygamy, we're talking divorce, we're talking financial instability. There's a lot, but at the core of all of that is emotional disconnection.
Emotional disconnection.
Now let's bring it in. What's the role? How can divorce contribute to family displacement and financial instability?
Before I answer that question, I hope you know.
You're saying divorce, financial. I said, okay, let me take my question.
Yeah,
Let's
from there,
deal
it's
with
fine.
that.
We'll deal with that. But before I will answer it. Yeah. But before I answer, I hope you know that there are homes that the parents are together, but they are not together. And it's not even with that mentally, they are not together.
They are separate.
So,
I have
and I've also seen divorces that are beautiful.
Very big. We talked
and
about
and that's co-parenting that's beautiful. So again, it goes back to the emotional connection. The divorce doesn't start one day. It starts when issues are swept under the carpet, when we do not take time to understand one another or each other. And I said it on the show before, when a relationship is beginning to go south, check the children. Check the children, because the children are being left unattended to emotionally and all that. So what role does the divorce play in disintegration? Depending on how the parents who are divorcing handle it. Right? So the disintegration that happens here is just that the nuclear family is no longer together. If the two people who are divorcing are falling out of love with each other, put into consideration the souls that they have brought into that relationship, I think divorces can be better. Of course, I always ask myself, there were times you were speaking to yourself a million and one, using clinical calls, midnight calls, and all that, and now you can't see yourselves. What happened? So it's a question of how many times have you actually communicated? Just like AJ said, when she was introducing herself, and she said, "If you give me a gift and there are no words in it, I would appreciate a gift, but it doesn't mean much to me." It's just like if my husband gives me flowers, he knows my face is gonna be blank.
What's happening?
Is it Ugu? I can't. It's going to die. And so you'll be shocked that these are the little things that break homes, that causes disintegration. These are the little things that causes disintegration. One person is a gifts person, the other person is a words person, the other. So when all of this, when a person feels unheard and unseen, how do they integrate emotionally or financially? Leading to your second question. So how does financial instability affect disintegration or cause disintegration? It's as simple. If you have two high flyers, two ambitious people. And in this world now that everybody is asking what everybody is bringing to the table.
What are you bringing to the table?
So if you do 50, 40, 40, 50, 60, 40, whatever, and at some point life happens. So when people ask those questions, and okay, if you're bringing to the table is usually about money. When life happens and you, the high flying woman, lose your job or your source of income reduces, what then happens? If the husband or the man of the house or the head of the home or whatever loses the income, what happens? How do you appear or show up for the person who is going through at the point? That is the question. The question is not the money. The question is how you approach and show up for this person. If the person has been a provider, 101% provider, and then you have just been doing and you're saving or whatever, either way, and then something happens to a source of income, it's going to cause some tension. If you don't sit down, and here's the problem. I might be wrong. Anybody could call and I'm wrong and I stand corrected. Here's the problem. When there is financial difficulty, many men, apologies, men, I love you. Many men don't know how to communicate that to their partners. Wait, before you start. Many women don't know how to then cut back and and live within the present reality. Yeah. And then we now begin to struggle. Hey, if you used to, if what you used to buy is a carton of milk a month, and things happen, or it's like this doesn't even have to happen. One financial policy, one social policy can change everything. And then, we used to buy 5 before. Let's start buying 4. It's not going to change anything. Just change the lifestyle to help the person who was the sole breadwinner understand that you understand. But the moment the person starts to feel unseen and unheard, disintegration starts.
Okay, it's time for us to go for our word of mother. Okay, and we'll be right back to continue this conversation after this announcement. Welcome back. Family is not just important, it is everything. It should be part of everything, and everything in us should be part of family. And I've been talking with Mishola Dapokoko, and our discussion is still family disintegration, family breakdown, separation. Okay, so we're talking about trying to understand the financial aspect and what are those things that can actually help, to contribute to make it understandable that, okay, this is divorce, this is how we understand it in family disintegration. Can poor communication help? Can it lead to family? Yeah, that's why we have to come into that. So that you explain further.
That's a rhetorical question, isn't it?
No, yeah, because some would like,
So family disintegration.
I know how to communicate now. What do you mean? But some don't understand that communication is different from communication. When you just talk like this, different from when I give you the full details of this was actually why I wanted to see you. Okay, I wanted to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Lay it down the way that your partner will understand it. So can connection lead to it?
I said earlier that when a person doesn't feel seen and heard, if you're talking with your partner and they're telling you they don't feel like they've been heard, they're not communicated. If you're speaking with your partner and they say they don't feel like they are seen, then you are not communicated. Family disintegration is not just about divorce and separations, it's about broken connections, unspoken pain. That's what it is. Unspoken pain. People who have repressed emotions. And we pride ourselves as Africans Nigerians to be so resilient. That is our pride, and it is a good thing to pride ourselves in. I truly don't have a problem. Resilience is good. Where before ethnocentric people will have my head, where I have a question is when we are saying we are resilient and then we are not we are repressing repressing people's emotions, or we're not giving rights for people to see. Okay, let's see. No. Let's a family where rape has happened to a child. There's been molestation, and it's from an extended family, and we repress it. What do you think is going to happen to that family? That family, even if they're together, they're completely dysfunctional because the father feels, the father feels powerless because of culture. This is an extended family that he's probably taking care of, and he's not doing it. The mother feels, if it's the extended family from the husband's side, she feels like, oh, she's incapable of helping her child. And I'm not talking about the female child alone, because we do know that boys are sodomized. Boys are sodomized. So the mother is sodomized. Now the child is there. You either believe the child, or you silence the child, or you make the child think that he's gone away. But this extended family member is still in the house. And then the child starts to see that this extended family member who molested them is doing well in the world, supported and sponsored by her parents or his parents. What do you think is happening?
She feels like people have given out that, like there's a preferential treatment over her.
So even if the family stays together, that child is just waiting for the day to step out and come back. So when you talk communication, we're talking about making sure that this person is heard, and you make sure that they understand that they have been heard and seen. Family disintegration does not just come, I repeat, it does not come from the head alone. A child can decide to disconnect from what the child perceives as toxicity, from what the child perceives, and most of us do that.
Yeah.
All of us grow up and say, oh, this happened in my home, it's not going to happen in mine, and then we begin to put boundaries around, which is fine. But what happens if family disintegrates? Another thing, and people are going to have my head full of this, is migration. Migration. Whether you're emigrating or you're immigrating or you're moving from one town to another, see, I grew up with people who their father was working in this Nigeria, was working in the east and the state of Lagos. They rarely saw their father. And our home was their home. They rarely saw their father. When their father died, I didn't feel any emotions from them because they don't know him. And I'll give you another story. I have friends that he was abroad. The family was here. They had out here. The family was here, and then he would come and go. Then one day he came to visit, and he saw that his child was communicating better with his security guard than him. How did he drop that job? That was the day. Yeah, that was the day he left his well-paying job abroad and came back home. What happened there? That child was seen and heard. They have an amazing relationship now. This girl child and this man, they have an amazing, and now they've all emigrated and they're all together. I do know it works for some people. Though I've heard that it works for some people. But marriage was made for connection.
Yeah.
Long distance. Mommy, I'm so sorry. What I'm going to
Not
say
long
now,
distance.
I'm sorry. You see, when I was dating, I don't know the difference in the sport at all because we don't date here. We don't. That's the truth. We don't date here. When I was in a relationship, my husband finished school before me, of course, and we had dated for about 3 or 4 years. And he was like, he was going to Bodo to go and yes, I will escort you to Boston airport.
And that's when
As
I
we
turned
reached
back
the
like
airport,
this.
I
That
told
is
her, I
it.
just,
I think
I
you
don't know how to
deserve
do
it.
this.
I'll just zip up. Forget you.
And
Totally.
it's not that we'll forget, it's just that the relationship is like,
It's gone. He's a gunner. He's a gunner.
you know.
But now let's talk of the place of social media.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to bring social media
Yeah, we have to
into
do
this
that.
because of recent you see that a lot of people get validation from social media and they use social media as a tool to what works in their family. Now it's more like social media has become the pathway to a lot of people. Now, what has that social media space done to family disintegration?
Okay, so this what I'm going to say now is going to be quite unpopular. But allowing even the school that your children go to reinforce your family values is wrong. You understand? Um, I have heard people say that it's not possible not to train children with television and social media and all that, and that might be true. But I also know that though I belong to the media, as they will not allow me stop, they will continue hearing. When my children knew when they're just 18 and 14, my children knew when they were young that school nights you go to bed at 6. So you watch all the night guy doing, and if you watch BBC children program, for example, they begin to shut down at 4.
At 4.
They begin night programs for children at 4. So by 6, go to bed. Weekends on Friday night, they know that they have extra 1 hour or 2 hours. Here's the thing that those who are allowing TV and social media to raise their children will know, or you're saying that, oh, like I cannot relate and I'm not trying to be prideful or anything, but I cannot relate when people say a child owns the remote in the house. Hell no.
No. 1 year and still going, my kids have not watched
Oh
television.
my
I don't
God.
because they know during school period we don't watch television. As long as school has resumed, no television.
This child is not paying any
Any bill.
billing, and then I can't relate. And yes, I cannot. And it's not because of anything, because that 1 year old, that 2 year old, that 3 year old still needs a minimum of 14 hours sleep for the brains to grow. They still need a minimum of between 12 hours and 14 hours for them to continue to absorb the things that they are learning. If you, as a parent, you are not doing your child a good service. You are still the parent. The child might think that they hate you because you are putting some guardrails in. I'll give you an example. My son had a Nintendo that that he had prayed for. He prayed.
I finally got it.
He got it for his 10th birthday, and he was so good and all that. Don't take that thing to the toilet. Don't take that thing. He used it for a year. The day he took his, in fact, this day he put. I know he's going to have my head for saying this. He said he was doing pedicure for himself. He took his switch into the anywhere, and then the switch fell inside of that.
Oh.
He just came and said, "Mommy, I know I don't have it. I'm not going to get any again until I'm 15." I said, "Thank you for understanding." Right. Of course, we got him something else.
Discipline.
But we got him something else. But the fact that he understands that he has broken a
It
family
makes him
value
responsible too.
makes him responsible. You do not say children are not responsible when you have not given them what to be responsible
You're
for.
not giving
Somebody
them
will
reason
bring.
to be
I'll share
responsible.
very quickly.
I'll try is really
You
you share that after. You share that after. You share that after when we finish this show. Because of our time and the other show will be coming up.
Oh,
Just
okay.
wanted to give your final words. What are those things? Okay, just 1 minute. How can parents strengthen the family bond in 60 seconds?
Listen to your children, listen to yourselves, enforce your family values, and make sure that every member of the family is seen, heard, and understood.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here today. So we'll continue the jokes after the show. It's so good to have Tumisha this morning. Joy.
Yeah, anytime she's here, you don't want her to go because it's here a lot and it reminds you a whole lot of stuff, So yes, thank you very, very much for being a part of the show. All right, thank you. I am Princess Joy. See you tomorrow. Have a splendid Tuesday.